Love, it arrives unannounced, a sudden storm in the calm predictability of life. It doesn't knock on the door or send a warning. It just bursts in, uninvited, and changes everything in an instant. One moment, life is a serene, placid lake, and the next, it's a tumultuous sea, waves crashing against the shore with relentless force. It crashes against the carefully constructed walls of our hearts, leaving us breathless, bewildered, and undeniably changed. These walls, built brick by brick over years of experiences, both good and bad, are no match for the sheer power of love. They crumble and fall, leaving us exposed and vulnerable, yet strangely exhilarated. It's a force of nature, this love, impervious to reason, logic, or even our own best interests. It doesn't care about our plans or our carefully laid out paths. It sweeps in like a hurricane, uprooting everything in its path, leaving us to pick up the pieces and make sense of the new landscape it has created. We are swept away by its current, tossed and turned in its depths, before we even have a chance to gasp for air. It's a wild, exhilarating ride, full of highs and lows, twists and turns. We lose ourselves in it, forgetting who we were before it came along, and not caring who we will be when it leaves. And sometimes, love chooses to bloom in the most unlikely of gardens. It finds a way to thrive in the most inhospitable conditions, defying all odds. It takes root in the cracks of our hearts where we least expect it, and grows into something beautiful and unexpected. It takes root in the infertile soil of unrequited affection, where the sun of reciprocation refuses to shine. It's a lonely, desolate place, but love is stubborn. It clings to life, refusing to give up, even when all hope seems lost. Yet it persists, a stubborn seedling clinging to life, fueled by the faintest hope of a miracle. It draws strength from the smallest glimmer of light, the tiniest drop of rain, and continues to grow despite the odds stacked against it. We nurture it with our tears, our longing, our unwavering belief that someday, somehow, our love will be enough. We pour our hearts into it, giving it everything we have, hoping that our efforts will be rewarded. We dream of the day when our love will be returned, when the sun will finally shine on our little seedling, and it will blossom into something magnificent. But love, in its purest form, asks for nothing in return. It simply is. It exists for its own sake, not for what it can get, but for what it can give. It is selfless, unconditional, and unwavering. It doesn't demand reciprocation or recognition. It just loves, because that is its nature. And in the face of unreturned affection, that truth can feel like both a blessing and a curse. A blessing, because it frees us from the need for validation. A curse, because it leaves us longing for something we may never have. A blessing, because it reminds us of our own capacity for boundless compassion. It shows us that we are capable of loving deeply and selflessly, without expecting anything in return. It teaches us the true meaning of love, and in doing so, it makes us better, more compassionate human beings. A curse, because it highlights the vast chasm that separates our heart's desire from the reality of our situation. It forces us to confront the painful truth that sometimes love is not enough. It makes us face the fact that no matter how much we love, we cannot make someone else love us in return. And that, perhaps, is the hardest lesson of all. Yet, in the face of all this, love remains resilient. It endures, even when it seems impossible. It finds a way to survive, to thrive, to grow. It teaches us to be patient, to be hopeful, to believe in the impossible. It shows us that even in the darkest of times, there is always a glimmer of light, a spark of hope, a reason to keep going. Love has the power to transform us, to change us in ways we never thought possible. It can break us down, but it can also build us up. It can shatter our hearts, but it can also heal them. It can leave us feeling lost and alone, but it can also bring us closer to others and to ourselves. In the end, love leaves an enduring legacy. It shapes who we are and who we become. It leaves an indelible mark on our hearts, a lasting impression that stays with us long after the storm has passed. It teaches us about ourselves, about others, and about the world around us. It shows us the beauty and the pain of being human, and in doing so, it makes life worth living. And perhaps the ultimate lesson of love is this: that it is not about what we get, but about what we give. It is not about finding someone to complete us, but about becoming complete in ourselves. It is not about seeking validation from others, but about finding it within. It is about loving deeply, selflessly, and unconditionally, and in doing so, discovering the true meaning of life. So let us embrace love in all its forms, in all its beauty and pain. Let us open our hearts to its power and let it transform us. Let us be brave enough to love, even when it hurts, and strong enough to let go when we must. For in the end, love is the force that makes us human, the force that makes life worth living. The world sees a smile, polite, cordial, fine. It's the kind of smile that reassures others, that tells them everything is okay, even when it's not. It's a mask we wear, a facade we maintain to keep the world at bay. But behind the carefully constructed facade, a heart bleeds. It's a wound that never quite heals, a pain that lingers just beneath the surface. The tears that fall in solitude are the only witnesses to this hidden sorrow. It's a silent agony, this unreturned love. A love that is given freely, but never reciprocated. It gnaws at the soul, leaving a void that nothing else can fill. The loneliness is profound, a constant companion in the quiet moments. A heavy cloak we wear, invisible to the naked eye, yet crushing us under its weight. It's a burden that grows heavier with each passing day, as the hope of love fades and the reality of solitude sets in. The weight is almost unbearable, yet we carry it with a stoic grace. We become masters of disguise, our smiles a practiced performance, our laughter a carefully orchestrated charade. Each laugh, each smile is a lie we tell the world, and sometimes even ourselves. We pretend to be happy, to be content, but inside the pain is relentless. We fear judgment, pity, the awkward discomfort of others forced to witness our vulnerability. The fear of being seen as weak, as broken, keeps us silent. We avoid eye contact, afraid that our eyes will betray the truth that our smiles hide. So we build walls, not to keep love out, but to keep it in. These walls are our protection, our defense against a world that doesn't understand. They keep our emotions contained, hidden from view, safe from the prying eyes of those who might judge us, to contain the overflowing well of emotions, threatening to spill over and expose the raw, aching truth. It's a constant battle, a struggle to maintain control, to keep the storm at bay. The emotions are powerful, overwhelming, but we fight to keep them hidden. We become experts at deflection, at changing the subject, at steering conversations away from the treacherous waters of our own hearts. We talk about anything and everything, except the one thing that truly matters. We avoid personal topics, afraid that the truth will slip out. We wear our masks so well that even those closest to us remain oblivious to the silent storm raging within. They see the smile, the laughter, the facade, but they don't see the pain. They don't see the tears that fall in the dark, the heart that breaks a little more each day. They see only the surface, the carefully curated image we present to the world. The relationships we maintain are surface level, devoid of the depth and intimacy that comes with true connection. We keep our distance, afraid to let anyone too close. And we, the bearers of this secret sorrow, retreat further into ourselves, finding solace only in the silent company of our own unrequited love. It's a lonely existence, but it's the only one we know. We find comfort in the familiarity of our pain, in the knowledge that it is ours alone to bear. Sometimes we turn to writing, pouring our hearts out onto the pages of a journal. It's a way to release the emotions we keep bottled up, to give voice to the pain we cannot speak. The words flow freely, a cathartic release of the sorrow that weighs us down. We look at old photographs, reminiscing about happier times, about moments when the world seemed brighter. The nostalgia is bittersweet, a reminder of what once was and what could have been. It's a longing for a past that can never be reclaimed. We find peace in solitude, in the quiet moments spent alone in nature. The beauty of the world around us offers a temporary respite from the pain, a moment of tranquility in the midst of the storm. It's a chance to breathe, to find a semblance of peace. Meditation becomes a refuge, a way to quiet the mind and find inner calm. It's a practice that helps us cope, that gives us the strength to face another day. The stillness brings clarity, a brief escape from the turmoil within. Some of us seek help, talking to a therapist who listens without judgment. It's a step towards healing, a way to begin to unravel the tangled web of emotions. The process is slow, but it's a path towards understanding and acceptance. We find support in friends, in loved ones who offer a shoulder to lean on. They may not fully understand our pain, but their presence is a comfort. They remind us that we are not alone, that there is hope, even in the darkest of times. Ultimately, we learn to embrace self-love, to find strength within ourselves. It's a journey, a process of healing and growth. We learn to be gentle with ourselves, to forgive our own imperfections, and to find peace in our own company. And one day, we find that our smiles are no longer a facade, but a reflection of true happiness. The pain may never fully disappear, but it becomes a part of us, a testament to our resilience. We learn to live with it, to find joy in the midst of sorrow, and to smile, not to hide, but to celebrate the strength we have found within ourselves. Love demands sacrifice, but unreturned love? It asks for something far more profound, more painful. It asks us to lay our hearts bare on the altar, offering up our pride, our dignity, our very sense of self, with no guarantee of acceptance. We find ourselves in a vulnerable state, kneeling at the altar of our own emotions, hoping for a miracle that may never come. The pain of unreturned love is a unique kind of suffering, one that gnaws at the very core of our being. We sacrifice our time, our energy, our emotional reserves, pouring ourselves into the bottomless well of another's indifference. Each word, each gesture, each moment spent is a piece of our soul given away, often without acknowledgement or appreciation. We make excuses for their absence, their silence, their inability to reciprocate. We tell ourselves that they are busy, that they have their own struggles, that they will come around eventually. We cling to these justifications even as they slowly erode our sense of reality. We convince ourselves that it's just a matter of time, that our love will eventually wear down their resistance. We watch the clock, waiting for a message, a call, a sign that they are thinking of us. But time passes, and the silence remains, a constant reminder of our unfulfilled longing. We become masters of self-deception, clinging to the faintest glimmer of hope even as it threatens to burn us alive. The flame of hope flickers, grows dim, but we hold on, believing that it will reignite, that our love will be returned. We sacrifice our own happiness for the fleeting chance to be near them, to bask in the warmth of their presence, even if it's not meant for us. We watch from a distance, longing to bridge the gap, but fear and doubt hold us back. We become shadows, content to exist in the periphery of their lives, grateful for crumbs of attention, for stolen glances, for any indication that we are more than invisible to them. We blend into the background, our own needs and desires overshadowed by our unrequited love. We pour our hearts into letters, messages, expressions of our feelings, only to tear them up in frustration, fearing rejection, fearing that our words will fall on deaf ears. We reminisce about happier times, moments when we felt a connection, however fleeting. We hold on to these memories, using them as a balm for our aching hearts, even as they remind us of what we have lost. We walk alone, our footsteps washed away by the waves, a metaphor for our unacknowledged efforts. The vastness of the ocean mirrors the emptiness we feel inside, a void that seems impossible to fill. We look to the stars, searching for answers, for signs, for anything that might give us hope. The night sky becomes a canvas for our dreams and desires, a place where we can imagine a different reality, one where our love is returned. We sit by the window watching the rain fall, each drop a tear shed for our unrequited love. The rain becomes a companion, a reflection of our inner turmoil, a reminder that we're not alone in our suffering. And yet, amidst the darkness, we light a candle, a small glimmer of hope that refuses to be extinguished. We hold on to this hope, believing that one day our sacrifices will be recognized, our love will be returned, and our hearts will find peace.